It was crazy. All right. Look over at Ephesians 2, 8, and 9. Ephesians 2, 8, and 9. All right, this is where we're going to start. This, of course, I wanted to start a new series today. And this series probably changed 2 or 3 times. And as I was writing, it all kind of focused around this type of a lesson, but it was, as I was writing, God said, okay, now do this, now write this, now write this, now you're going to write on this. And I said, that doesn't even make sense. And he goes, don't worry, you just keep writing. And it was great to have the lesson kind of come out. I will tell you, I am a planner. I try to plan out what we're doing when we're doing it. This was not in the plan, and it's awesome. So, the title of this series, it's not really the title of the series, it's the title of this. The whole series is going to be called Grace. It's about a 4 or 5 part series. But this lesson is called Misunderstood Grace. Misunderstood Grace. And I learned a lot. I hope that you do too. So look at Ephesians 2, 8, and 9. If we don't get through all of it, it's okay. I'm just going to carry it over. It says, for by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It is the gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast. Now, if you're a soul winner, all right, you are going to know these verses because it is the example of grace most often given for Christians. All right, and we're going to get into the example here in just a second. But this is the example of grace most often given for Christians, by Christians, to Christians. But I want you to see this. It says in verse 8, for by grace are you saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It is the gift of God. Before I get there, I want to jump down to Ephesians 2, 4, and 5. And I want us to understand, because before we get into anything, I want us to understand the difference between mercy and grace. Mercy and grace. Ephesians 2, 4, and 5 says, but God, who is rich in mercy, for his love wherewith he loved us, even when we were dead in sins, hath quickened us together with Christ. By grace ye are saved. So he's rich in mercy. We're saved by grace. Make sense? All right. Mercy defined is not getting what you deserve. Not getting what you deserve. Okay? I have examples to help you here as we go through. Letter B, grace defined is getting what you don't deserve. Okay? So, as I read this, I want you to kind of rethink in your mind, well, Mark, how can we misunderstand grace? Look at Ephesians 2, 8. It says, for by grace, that means for by grace, for by the fact of we're getting something we do not deserve, are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It is a what? Gift of God. All right. Look over at James 1:17. James 1:17. So grace is a gift. Grace and faith are gifts from the Father, right? That's what that says. For by grace are you saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. You can't do anything for it. It is the gift of God. All right, look at James 1:17. 1:17 says, every good gift and every perfect gift is where? From above, and cometh down from the Father of lights, with whom is no variableness, neither shadow of turning. That means what one gets, they all get. All right, when Christ died, he didn't just die for this half of the room, he died for the whole room. He died for the whole world. All right, there's no shadow of turning or variableness. Grace and faith are gifts, and we see that they come from the Father, which only gives perfect gifts. Okay? So, now I want to get to my example. Liar, liar, pants on fire example. That was really the only way that I could name it. All right? I'm like, I don't know what else to say. But, liar, liar, pants on fire example. If you are a parent in this room, you've at one time had a child, and that child, let's say 7 years old. 7 years old, You explain the rules in your household very clearly. The child is 7 and they lie. They directly lie. They're not good at lying because they haven't perfected it yet. Okay? Because they're 7. All right? So they tell some wild lie. You know it's a lie. Who ate this? I have no idea. It was the dog. We don't even have a dog. Okay. So, all right? So a 7-year-old lies. They understand the punishment. The punishment laid out in the house is 3 swats. All right? We believe in spanking. That's what the Bible says. That is how you rear a child, is by saying, hey, not beating them, by spanking them and explaining to them what is happening. So now they understand, they know what the consequence is. You know it is caught, right? Okay. Now, you show mercy and you say, you know what? You're thinking this in your head. I don't think you'd ever say this out loud, but hey, you know what? You've been really good. You know what? You have, this is kind of a rare one-off. And for some reason, even if you don't have a reason, you just decide to do mercy on the 7-year-old. And you say, you know what? I'm not going to spank you today. And they say, oh, okay. Right? Okay. Has anyone ever done that with their kids? Shown mercy? Yes. Yes, of course. Now, grace defined is now you say after mercy, now you say, hey, you know what? Now we're going to go out, we're going to have ice cream and have a fun day. And the parents are probably in this room going, whoa, never done that. Never was supposed to get a spanking, and now we're going out for ice cream. I want you to just roll with me for right now. Now, we're done with the family. All right, we're done with the little kid. All right, so the little kid, he lied. All right, he was caught. You showed mercy, and then you gave him ice cream. Okay? Now, we're going to play the adult game. All right? The adult game is I have a plan where I already had a scheduled time where I was going to help a Christian brother up here at the church. It was already set. It was 2 weeks before. They knew I was coming. I knew I was supposed to be coming. I also knew I wasn't going to come. All right? And now the day comes and I lie to them and I said, and I text them, hey, you know what? I'm sick today. I don't plan on being there. Okay? Now, they don't know I'm lying, but God does, right? So now I've hurt a Christian brother. I've lied to my brother. I've hurt the work of God because we're supposed to be working at the church. So now they are behind and the work of God does not get done. Okay? There's consequences. All right? But God shows me mercy. And he says, all right, whatever reasoning God has, God says, I'm not going to punish Mark right now. Okay? An hour later, I get a phone call. And it's somebody that I work with or that I know and says, hey, you have a talent. We have an opportunity. If you can come in the next hour, we can work for 4 hours for today and 8 hours for tomorrow. And they're going to give us $750 cash. No taxes. You don't have to do anything. Just show up and, there's a chance that we could get done early. And I take it. Okay? So let me say $750 comes out, right? Oftentimes, what do you think the kid would equate if we gave him ice cream after he knows he lied and we showed mercy? The kid would be thinking, oh, well, it's okay to lie, right? Right? Well, it's okay. Hey, you know what? I'm going to lie more because next time there's something at Target that I really want. There's something at Walmart I really want. I'll just keep on lying. But that's not what grace is. We just learned grace is a what? A gift. Oh. So now, is it is it realistic for us to say we as adults can equate making $750 to saying, I knew I shouldn't have gone down there and helped at the church. I knew it. God himself told me he blessed us with money when we really needed money, but I had to go help at the church. I know I lied. God knows I lied. Do you see how you can equate blessings with doing wrong? Does that make sense? Just follow along. I understand this is a lot going on, and we're not even 3 parts into our page yet. Okay. Does all this make sense? Okay. All right. These two, mercy and grace. All right. So now we're going to come back to our example here in just a second. These two are closely linked, but there is a difference. Letter D, there is a difference. In number 7, we are going to contrast Jonah 2:8 and Galatians 2:21. So go look at Jonah. It's Hosea, Joel, Amos, Obadiah, Jonah. So you go to Daniel and go 5 books into the minor prophets. Jonah 2:8 says, they that observe lying vanities forsake their own mercy. Forsake their own mercy. Look at Galatians 2:21, or just listen. You can always watch this back on YouTube because this is a lot. It says, Galatians 2:21 says, I do not frustrate the grace of God, for if righteousness come by the law, then Christ is dead in vain. What I want you to see is here in Jonah 2:8, it says, they that observe lying vanities forsake their own mercy. You can forsake mercy. Okay? You can forsake mercy. You can chase worthless things and not care about consequences until it's too late. You can say, I don't want your mercy. I don't want your pity. I don't care. I'm doing what I want to do, and that's the consequences. I understand, but I think I'm going to be happier by the end. You can leave mercy. Does that make sense? You can literally get to the point where you don't care. It doesn't mean you can never receive mercy. Does that make sense? Okay. I told you, this is a lot. Yeah, yes. But, letter B, you can only frustrate grace. You can't forsake it or leave it. I want you to understand, remember, the definition of grace is getting what you do not deserve. It is a gift, and the Father, which is perfect, gives perfect gifts, right? So how can you forsake or leave something that you were never expected to get anyway? Does that make sense? Okay. How can you leave something you never had a right to begin with? You want to live in a way or manner of life that you feel entitled to grace. That's where we are right here. Where now, no. Whether I do right or wrong, you owe me something. That's where our society is right now. I can do something wrong, and they say, no, you owe me money. Why do I owe you money? Because I live in America. Okay, you didn't do jack nothing for America. Charlie? There's no Charlie in here, so I'm not condemning all Charlies, all right? I'm just saying. But you can get to the point where you can say, I'm entitled to grace. But grace is a what? A gift. From who? From God, from the Father, who gives perfect gifts. Oh, man, this is so good. It is so good. All right. Either way, you put self, either way, whether you frustrate grace or you forsake mercy, you put self over anything or other people or God can or will do for you. Meaning you put self first. You say, you either owe me grace or I don't need your pity. I don't need your mercy. I can do what I want to do. Self is first. Self is first. Now, number 8. Now, both of these examples, both in Jonah and in Galatians, are talking mostly, as in Ephesians, about heaven or salvation. All right? And this is where I said I would come back to. Most often, but this does not apply to daily grace mercy we receive. Go back to my liar, liar, pants on fire example. When we give an example of grace, we actually name the acronym. It's God's riches at Christ's expense, right? That's what grace is. Meaning, he paid the price for us to go to heaven. And now because of that, we did not earn that. We did not deserve that. That is a gift. That is a gift of salvation. We accept that gift. He gave us grace. That's commonly how we will see grace. Is we see it as, well, we already got grace. Okay? But I want you to think of it like this. What if this kid here, all right, he's a liar, meaning he's a sinner, right? Okay? He's a sinner. Just like us. So, and he's shown mercy, that's fine. But instead of ice cream, what if I told him, hey, in 48 years, okay? So I know you lied, but in 48 years, I'm going to get you a brand new house on the beach. He's going to say, well, what in the world is that? What do I care about that? That's like the worst gift ever. Because you got to wait 48 years for it. In your mind, could that possibly somehow be how we think about heaven? Where now every day, where God says, you're saved, you're on your way to heaven, that's great. When am I going to get there? No idea. What does it look like? Well, we have some idea, but not really a lot of details. You can imagine it. You're going to go hang out with God. Okay, but I walk with God right now. Yes, but you're going to go spend time with him. Great. Could it be at some point we take grace for granted? Just like this kid, if I told him in 48 years, you are going to get a beautiful house right on the beach. And, ooh, baby, this is going to be nice. It's going to have a deck and a hot tub right on the beach, and it's never going to rain there, and it's going to be great. I'll make all these weird promises. All right? Yeah, always sunny. They don't care. Or they might care, but they'll say, all right, well, that's okay. That's average. And I'm like, that's average? What do you mean that's average? That's great news. Be very careful. Grace does not become to you what it is to this kid. Okay? Where grace is only some mysterious thing, X amount of years, days, months, or hours into our future, because we don't know. All right? And we lose the sight of, it's an awesome gift. It's a great gift. So, well, Mark, that's great. Now I totally get it. I don't understand grace, but we can. Grace is daily. 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 When we think of grace in the term of the child, you lose sight of just how great God is. You really do. Look at 2 Corinthians, and we're going to have time. We're not going to get through the whole thing, but that's okay. Look at 2 Corinthians 12. Again, I don't want to rush this. This was just an awesome series to write, and I don't want to rush it. 2 Corinthians 12, 6 through 10. It says, 2 Corinthians 12, why am I reading chapter 6? Verse 12. All right, it says, "For though I would desire to glory, I shall not be a fool. For I will say the truth, but now I forbear, lest any man should think of me above that which he seeth me to be, or that he heareth of me. And lest I should be exalted above measure, though the abundance of the revelations, there was given to me a thorn in the flesh." This is, of course, Paul, "the messenger of Satan, to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure. For this thing I besought the Lord thrice, that it might depart from me." Look at what he said. "And he said unto me, My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. Therefore, I take pleasure in infirmities, in reproaches, in necessities, in persecutions, in distresses, for Christ's sake. For when I am weak, then I am strong." This is where I wanted us to get to, number 9. Which do you choose for grace? Is it balance or is it bitterness? Because we're going to get into this next week, depending on how far I get. But next week is going to be talking about grace and dealing with the hard things that come up in this life. And you can either take this as balance or bitterness. Look at 2 Corinthians 12:9. It says, "And he said unto me, My grace is sufficient for thee." What I want you to see is here, letter A. God won't always isolate us from harm, but he will always offer grace which is sufficient for all things. He will never always isolate us, but he will say, I'll give you grace. Because grace is a what? Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Gosh, it's so good. God isn't, letter B, a way, and I put that all in caps. God isn't a way to get through things. He is the way. Amen. Why? Because his grace offers this. We're going to get to, I'll keep going. Look at James. We still got about five minutes. Look at James 4, 1 through 6. Might get further than what I thought. It says, "From whence come wars and fightings among you? Come they not hence, even of your lusts that war in your members? Ye lust and have not, ye kill and desire to have and cannot obtain, ye fight and war, yet ye have not because ye ask not. Ye ask and receive not because ye ask amiss, that ye may consume it upon your lust. Ye adulterers and adulteresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with God? Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of God." Verse 5, "Do you think that the scripture saith in vain that the Spirit dwelleth in us, lusteth to envy, but he giveth more grace?" Oh, man. "Wherefore he saith, God resisteth the proud, but giveth grace unto the humble." He giveth more grace. Number 10. Sorry, I'm all over the board here. He giveth more grace because we need it, not because we earned it. It is so good. You don't understand. When I'm writing this message, this was not even on my, I had no idea what this message was. None. Me. And I'm writing it. And as I'm going, I'm like, wow, that is crazy. And then he gives me this example, and I say, oh my goodness. The answer of the, and then there's one more passage I just want us to read, and then I'll circle back around. Look at Romans 11. Romans 11, 1 through 6. It says, "I say then, hath God cast away his people? God forbid. For I am also an Israelite," again, this is Paul, "of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. God hath not cast away his people, which ye foreknew. Wot ye not what the scripture saith of Elias," that is Elijah, "how he maketh intercession to God against Israel, saying, Lord, they have killed thy prophets and digged down thine altars, and I am left alone, and they seek my life." You'll find that in 1 Kings. But what saith the answer of God unto him? I have reserved myself 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal. Even so then, at this present time also, there is a remnant according to the election of grace. Meaning there's people you don't know about that I've already gathered because I've been planning for it and I've been helping them. And if by grace, then is it no more of works. Otherwise, grace is no more grace, because grace is a gift and it's unearned. We get what we do not deserve. We often see it as heaven. Now I see it as a breath. Now I see it as a breath of air. You want to live grace? It's right here. Then is it no more of works? Otherwise grace is no more grace. But if it be of works, then is it no more grace? Why? Because if I can do it, I don't need your grace. Otherwise, work is no more work. Grace isn't what we do. It's from God because it's sufficient for all things. If you walk out of here and the only thing I want you to understand is misunderstood grace, if you have been in the same boat that I have been in and saying, you know what, I hear about the grace of God, we sing Amazing Grace, we sing all these things, and it is wonderful, it is amazing. Heaven is going to be amazing. We have loved ones in heaven right now that can tell us it is amazing. Keep going. Keep witnessing. Just go. But if that's the only grace you're living, you need to get a hold of God. Because he has so many more gifts, perfect gifts, just for each of you, every single day, that you're going to walk away saying, now that is amazing grace. Amazing grace. So good. Oh my goodness. And I'll pick up there next week. We're going to pick up there on grace and trials. Grace and trials. If you don't mind stopping the video. Yep. Yes, brother.